When you're a startup, really in any industry, you're bound to make some mistakes. We have had our share, definitely. I'm going to talk about the biggest one today that cost us anywhere between $15,000 and $40,000 in revenue. What happened and what are we doing to recover? We'll talk about it right after the stinger. Hi, I'm Felix Sharpe. I'm one of the owners and proprietors of Campus2Canton.com, which is a fantasy football content provider. We operate on a subscription model, so we sell subscriptions to the website, provide the content, et cetera, et cetera. It's a model that works across different types of industries: fitness, finance, real estate. A number of industries have a similar model. I've started doing some videos on the business end that are less, football specific content and more on how we are growing and the obstacles that we've faced as a business. This one is an interesting one here today. But before we get into that, I'd appreciate it if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel if you find this content interesting and you want to track our journey. And of course, if you want football specific content, there's a lot of that here on the channel. So yes, we started in March of 2021, really still right in the midst of the pandemic. And we had an issue with our software and recurring payments. As I mentioned in the intro, it cost us an estimated anywhere between $15,000 and $40,000 in revenue over this span. Now, I am not the guy that handles the logistics behind the website. That's Colin Decker. So I'm going to talk to Colin a little bit so he can explain more about what happened. And I will come back right after that. Again, I'd appreciate it if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you here in a second. Colin Decker, co-founder here at Campus2Canton.com. He's also the brainchild who actually went and snagged the domain name early on. Also, he's behind the customer service arm of this company. Colin, I did an intro here. We talked about this issue we had, one of the, bigger, I don't know what you call it, potholes or obstacles or
speed
downs, speed bumps. This is a speed bump, all right, that we faced since we started this company. The issue with reoccurring payments, you know better than I did. What was the issue?
Yeah, so I am completely self-taught with everything, like website wise. So, it took a while to kind of figure out what exactly the issue was and kind of pinpoint it. But basically, we have two point of sale programs behind the scenes, plugins, apps, applications. We have one called WooCommerce, and that one's set up for individual purposes, or supposed to be set up for individual purchases. So your Devi guide, your freshman guide, things like that. That's also kind of where some of our merchandise sales used to funnel through before we got a new place there. And then we also have a plugin called Paid Membership Pro, and that's where all of our memberships are supposed to funnel through. But sometime around when we rolled the site over to the new site and we had that whole unveiling, it was March 2022-ish, some memberships ended up getting crossed, and some of the memberships ended up going through the single point of sale plugin back there. So WooCommerce.
All right, so let me boil this down so that I can understand it. We had members, they were rolled over to the new site, and while a recurring payment is supposed to be processed, it only processed the initial payment and not recurring payment.
Correct.
And
yeah.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yep.
And then how long did this issue last?
So the earliest accounts we could find that were affected were April of 2022. And we discovered the issue in early September 2023. So a year
more than
and a half-ish. Yeah.
Okay. That's a very long time for a very small company not to notice that it's not getting paid. I should mention here that one of the reasons why we did not catch this earlier is because we didn't have any expectation of revenue. So the revenue that was coming in, we thought, oh yeah, that's about right. We didn't realize that figure was supposed to be a little bit larger. Before we get to the actual number, go ahead.
I was just saying we were growing at a pretty substantial rate, so it's not like we were noticing all of these missed payments that were, should be coming in. These $299, $499 a month payments that were being missed.
So that's again more than a year. What is that? 15 months? I can't. Somebody can do the math there and let me know in the comments. I went to extremely, extremely public schools. How many people were affected? Now we have annual memberships and monthly memberships. How many monthly memberships were affected? Do we estimate?
So it was,
you know the number.
Yeah, so 711 total affected members, 360 monthly, 351 yearly. So almost a pretty even split.
Say those numbers one more time.
711 affected members, 360 monthly.
Gotcha. And so those are reoccurring payments between April of 2022 and September of 2023 when we discovered it that we were not collecting. About how much revenue do we estimate was lost? And I think that your estimate is conservative.
I think it is too. So the yearlies are much easier to estimate because that's a one-time recurring payment. In terms of yearly memberships that we lost out on the funds for, it was $11,308.32. The monthly ones are a lot harder to figure out because the one-time fee, but then how many months would they have kept that membership going? Sometimes some people would have canceled.
Do you have a figure for if that membership was in place for the duration of that period?
Yeah. So the doomsday scenario there would be
doomsday scenario. Give me the doomsday.
Just under
$10,000,
just under $33,000. Yeah, just under $33,000 for the doomsday scenario. It was $32,956.23.
All right, Colin, you're fired. No, I should say that's almost 40 grand in lost revenue. But we think we sent out an email to all of the customers that are affected, basically saying that your membership is going to be terminated, and here's why. And if you'd like to renew, you can. I think if we stick around here for a while, we may, recapture some of those 700 odd members that were affected. And we still have, we're fortunate enough to have a very loyal and passionate subscriber base. So it is a big gut punch, especially for a startup. You're talking about 40 grand in revenue, but live to fight another day, I guess.
Yeah, and to speak to your point about the loyal memberships, I mean, when we put out the tweet and the message in the Discord, we got such a great outflow of support, and we had people reaching out who were like, "Was my membership affected? Like, how can I help? Like, even if my membership wasn't affected, can I pay more?" So we really do have such a great, loyal, fantastic customer base. And we did get, definitely got some of those back. And like you said, I think as we're around longer and longer and people go without that Campus2Canton fix that they need, I think they'll be back.
They'll be back. Appreciate it, Colin. It's a lesson learned here. It's a really tough one, but I don't think that we're going to lose. What I mean by that is the only way we lose is if we quit. And there's no one around here that is prepared to quit. We're going to keep providing the content. Hopefully the format of fantasy football that we're playing, which is definitely a niche, if that niche continues to grow, I think that we will continue to get some of those customers back, including, our organic growth, which I will probably talk about in another video at some point down the line. If you're an entrepreneur or you're a startup, if you started a website, let me know if you've ever experienced something like that in the comments or something similar, some problems that you've had, some things that you had to learn as you grew your channel or your website or, whatever it is that you're doing. I appreciate you tuning in. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Peace.